everything else being equal, we're at minus 60. These IF channels are open. They're always open. So as a result, what are we going to have happen to this cell membrane at minus 60? Will it stay there? No, it's going to slowly depolarize. And why is it slowly depolarizing? It's slowly depolarizing because the IF channel is open, more permeable to sodium than potassium, or sodium influx is greater than potassium efflux. So you get this slow depolarization. And as soon as you reach threshold, right here, these fast-acting calcium channels open up at threshold. Now, is there a calcium concentration gradient across the cell membrane here? Yes, calcium is in a high concentration in the ECF, low concentration in the ICF. So if you open up a calcium channel, you're going to get a rapid influx of calcium, right? And depolarization. And then at plus 20, the calcium channel closes. So the gate opens at minus 40, calcium influx, closes at plus 20. But by this point in time, we're at plus 20, the slower acting potassium channel is open. And as a result, now we're going to have potassium efflux, and we're going to repolarize. And you repolarize, and now you're back. Okay with that? So let's do this one. So this one was in response to the IF channel, right? And we had an influx of sodium. That's what caused this depolarization. Here was due to the fast-acting calcium channels. We had a calcium influx that triggered that depolarization there, and then it closed. And then here now, potassium efflux is what's going to allow for repolarization back to rest. You okay with that? But as soon as we get back to rest, what happens? What's it going to do?
Channels close?
These channels close. This channel's always open. So what's it doing? It's going to depolarize again. And then it'll reach threshold, and it'll do that, and it'll do that. So if we think about what the impact of this is, okay, here's the impact. Let's get a bigger graph here so we can really see what happens over time. Here's our millivolts. There's time. Let's put resting potential on here. What was the value? Minus 60? Always forget. Minus 60. Threshold. What's threshold?
Minus 80.
Minus
40.
40. And let's put action
I
potential
thought it
on
was
here. What was
82. I
it?
wanted to ask.
So we started at minus 60. We had depolarization to threshold. As soon as we reach threshold, that's IF channel, sodium influx, greater potassium influx, depolarized. Threshold, fast-acting voltage-gated calcium channels open, depolarize quickly. Calcium channel closed at plus 20, but by this time, the slower potassium channels are open. So we repolarize here, back to resting potential there, but as soon as we're back to resting potential, we depolarize again, there, calcium channels open, calcium channels closed, potassium efflux, back to rest, here, IF channels depolarized to threshold there. So what do you see happening here?
Electrocardiogram.
Yeah, we're seeing actually not the electrocardiogram, but we're seeing the SA node, if you will, firing kind of spontaneously. And it's a rhythm, right? So we're seeing, so this, if this were the SA node, what we're seeing is this. This is the SA node firing here. So we're seeing this. Okay, you see that? So this SA node is what starts the cycle. And it's very rhythmic, and the rate is dependent upon how long it takes to get to threshold, right? If this is steeper, you get to threshold faster, and the heart rate increases. If this is shallower, you get to threshold slower, and the heart rate decreases. Does that kind of make sense? So if this is what the SA node looks like without any modulation, this would be 100 beats per minute. Okay. It would generate this. So IF channels to threshold, calcium influx, potassium efflux. IF channels to threshold, calcium influx, potassium efflux. And it's very predictable. And this rate is going to give us the cardiac cycle. Okay. And as a result of that, right, I mean, you see membranes depolarize, the contractile cells depolarize, stay depolarized, twitch, and you get the cardiac cycle. Now we know that we can alter the heart rate. Okay? And the way you alter the heart rate is by altering the permeability of the IF channel. If the IF channel is more permeable, what's going to happen here? Let's do it this way. So let's say the IF channel gets more permeable. Let's see what happens. I'll do that one in red. So here we are here. We're going to have steeper here, the threshold, reach it, come back down here, steeper here to threshold, reach it, come back down here, steeper here to threshold, reach it, boom, come back down here. So what just happened to my heart rate? It increased, right? I now had, where before I had 2 cardiac cycles in this amount of time, I've now got 3. Why did that happen? Because the IF channel was more permeable. So, do you think that's part of a sympathetic response or a parasympathetic response? This is sympathetic. So, you can tell me right now, norepinephrine and epinephrine, guess what they do to the IF channel? They make it more permeable. When epinephrine is on the IF channel is more permeable. So epinephrine increased IF permeability. Does that make sense? So you depolarize faster.